Autumn moonlight.
Another Matsuo Basho. Autumn moonlight, a worm digs silently into the chestnut.
All right, so it's nighttime.
If you really read between the lines, you can tell that there's a moon.
The moon's out.
The moon's out. It's crazy.
Good job catching that symbol in there, that there's a moon.
Well, there wasn't a time of day specified necessarily in the frogs poem. So.
That's actually a good point. That's actually a pretty solid point.
I think my first impression on it is like, even though it's peaceful and quiet, like, because I think like autumn nighttime is like a nice time, like, you know, campfires and just sleeping. But even in this peaceful moment, a worm is like digging and eating and trying to like do its work for the day, get its food. So it's like kind of a similar vibe as the frog one. Like even when it's peaceful, there's a lot going on that you don't see.
Yeah, this is very like a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it.
She still felt.
It kind of gives me an image in autumn night with the moonlight, like with a candle, like writing poems. Somebody working like solitary at night and like the rest of the world is asleep.
In Japan, autumn is the harvest season. And autumn is seen as like a prosperous season. So that actually makes a lot of sense. Like, yeah, they're hard at work in every type of labor. And quiet because it's cold.
And the worm is prosperous.
Worms are pretty sick.
They're getting that chestnut.
Getting that chestnut, dude. Don't you worry.
I suppose like another angle with that in mind is like, if there's worms in your chestnut crop, that's not good. So if you own the chestnuts, if you're the farmer of the chestnuts, this could be trouble.
I know in English we have an idiom of like a chestnut being like a piece of an idea or a piece of information. Is that a thing in Japan too?
The symbolism. So like I live next to the city that was technically the chestnut capital of when Japan was during the lockdown Edo period. Chestnut symbolism. Let me think. I don't really know to what extent chestnut is anything beyond like a very obviously sought out crop and a very sought out present for people. It's considered kind of high class to find a good chestnut. One thing is like the emperor would always get the best chestnuts from this region. And the ones that were being eaten by the worms were the ones that people would be getting because they wouldn't give that to the emperor ever. So emperor would get the top class ones, so the higher society would get the best chestnuts. And to them, chestnuts is the perfect thing. But for the average people that grow the chestnuts, they would probably get like the scraps.
Wikipedia tells me that chestnuts in Japan are often a New Year's menu, and they can represent both success and hard times, mastery and strength. And it has also been in cultivation for 2,000 to 6,000 years in Japan. Anyway, mastery, strength.
The symbolism, I agree with all those. People don't eat chestnuts in New Year's. But, interesting. Okay, that makes sense.
Just Wikipedia, may not be true.
I mean, honestly, I trust Wikipedia quite a lot. I wonder why they wrote that.
Maybe it was an older thing.
Maybe.
It could definitely be like two sides of the coin, like good for the worm, doing his own thing, bad for the person who may own this chestnut tree if they don't get their chestnuts.
I wasn't originally picturing it as like a chestnut tree grove, I don't know, that like is owned. I was just picturing this like the middle of nowhere. So I don't know. I like that version where no one screwed over by
No, that was my first thought too. I was just thinking like, how else could you read this? These like haiku usually are the opposite of human centric. But they're also like for humans, obviously, to read. So it's like interesting in that way.
It really does resonate with us one way or another, no matter how you phrase something like this. I feel like Matsuo Basho has that like so nature centric that your brain is just like desperately searching for a relatable side, which can make it very divergent. But in this scenario, I'm tapped out.
It could be like, getting up for a late night snack.
I really feel like, I mean, I think I'm definitely, my opinion is definitely influenced.
I just heard that part.
By like, when we say, oh, like that old chestnut, or like, we use like chestnut to mean like some kind of core truth, but I'm like definitely envisioning somebody just like sitting up late at night contemplating the meaning of the universe and like getting deeper and deeper into like a really like,
oh, I like that.
Like chestnuts are very sweet and very like, I don't know, but the idea of having this like imperceptible shell and then like just kind of burrowing slowly and patiently into the middle as opposed to like smashing it. I don't know.
I mean,
they kind of look like
Turkey,
brains.
Oh, I was gonna say in Turkey, chestnuts are considered hearts.
Oh, yeah, I can see it.
So digging into your heart at night makes sense because that's actually like a old Turkish trope as well. Like people spending late nights contemplating love, contemplating feelings, contemplating grief. That's the trope in Turkey. I'm pretty sure similar things exist in a lot of other places.
In Italy, aren't chestnuts like castagna? Like
Coglioni.
Isn't castagna like slang for balls?
Yeah, in certain regions. In my region, it wasn't, but I know what you're referring to. I've heard like, yeah, I think you might be right with that. So I guess you're digging in with your worm.
I don't think
a metaphor for like STIs.
Might be the first LGBT metaphor.
I don't think that this is like a Venetian haiku, so.
You never know where these Venetians, where they be.
We picked like the least dirty poem in this entire section.
There were so many options.
There's literally something wrong with us.
You're digging a hole, man.
Chestnuts and chill.
Chestnuts and chill. See, when y'all visit, we can definitely.
It's my hole again too.
Dirty. I'll see you dirty. But that's okay. We all gotta explore these feelings.
No, it's true. I mean, I think what I found in literature is that if something doesn't make any sense, it's usually either about sex or death.
I do tend towards death with this one.
It's like, I gotta say, the idea, like, the taboo culture has brought such interesting literature into our lives. Like, if sex were not taboo, everyone would be like, and then we had sex and it was awesome. We'd be like, all right, cool. But now we have like, shall I compare thee to a summer's day or your butthole to something?
Well, that's why I have Catalyst up here, because it's like, it wasn't always taboo, and things pendulum swing throughout history. Like, things were not taboo, things are taboo again. And Achilles and Patroclus are just cousins in one interpretation, and now they're allowed to be gay again. Things kind of switch back and forth.
We can be gay again, yeah! Just imagine Patroclus and Achilles, like, just from the other world, they're like, huh, we're cousins now. Shit.
Cousins again.
Like, ooh, well, I don't understand how worm digging into a chestnut brought us to this point. But that's the beauty of Haiku.